Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking here in my bedroom in the great state of Kansas. And today's video, we're finishing up a series I did called my top 20 favorite or most cinematic video games. And been playing video games since I was a kid back in the 90s, so 30 plus years of video game playing. Love video games with grand stories and that feel like you're in a movie, I guess, and have good enough stories that I think you can make a TV series and movies out of, and some of them they have. Anyway, so that's what I love talking about and playing these type of video games that takes you a long time to get through, and you just feel like you played a story, yeah, like I said, a very cinematic story. Anyway, so I've already gone through 20 through number 6, so we're going to talk about my top 5 favorite most cinematic video games in my opinion. So let's go with number 5. Number 5, we have Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, this one I played I got this fairly recently, I feel like a year or so ago, on my PS4. And it's definitely a video game that I've been wanting to play for a long time. As soon as I saw this video game, uh, I was like, man, I have to play this video game because it reminded me a lot of like what we're getting out of like Batman and the Spider-Man series and Red Dead Redemption. Actually, it reminds me a lot of Red Dead Redemption. Uh, that instead of being a cowboy, you're a samurai, and that's what I love about these kind of video games. Is like you just get immersed into this world, and it's like, man, yeah, I would always love to. I love, I wouldn't say I love samurai type movies, but I love martial arts movies, stuff like that. I love, that's more Chinese culture, but I do love some samurai stuff like, Last Samurai and stuff that deals with the Japanese culture as well. And yeah, so I was like, yeah, I get to be a samurai, I get to fight with a sword, and I get to live through the story and kind of ancient Japan or whatever. Like, yeah, sign me up. It took me a while before I finally got around to actually buying this video game, and once I bought it, man, it was as good as I hoped, good as the hype. This game is amazing. I absolutely love this game. And a couple things about it, of course, the playing is just amazing. Uh, your character, uh, the whole thing is like this, the Mongolians or something like that. I think they are. I've taken over this part of Japan or whatever it is, and you're trying to drive them out. And the bad guy is Kublai Khan or something like that. He's like the grandson of the Khan that we know. And so I love it that you have this map, and it's territories are controlled by the enemies, and as you take out the enemies, then you can see on the map that it's not, that area is not controlled by the enemies anymore, and now you have taken back control. Anyway, so it's so awesome to go through and just try and take out pieces of the map and work your way up. And then there's another level, you have to get past this one level, and then you get to this upper part, and all of a sudden you're on a whole new territory that you're playing through. So I absolutely love the advancement of the game and what you're trying to do. And again, the samurai sword fighting is so fun to play with, and how you have to strategize how you fight certain enemies. And one of my favorite things is you learn different stances. There's like 4 different stances, like water stance, wind stance, or something. I forget. You have these 4 different stances, and you push like a button to get in each stance. And the purpose is, depending on what enemy you're facing, there's a certain stance you want to be in, and man, that's so fun. Love that idea behind it. You're fighting someone with a sword, then you get into a certain stance that helps you with sword fighters. You fight someone with a spear, then you get in this different stance that helps you with spear fighters. If you're fighting a big guy or something like that, there's a stance for bigger opponents, or I think ones with shields or something like that. I forget. There's like 4 different stances that helps you out, and so each time you come across a couple different enemies, you might have different, sword fighters, spear fighters, ones with shields. Like I said, these different types. That each type you have to adjust your stance to get your advantage on them. But at the same time, you're being attacked by other people, so you have to be wary of all the people that are attacking you and how to, go, try to divide them up one by one and take them out one by one. It's so fun. And you come across bad guys all the time. You just are, I believe you're on horseback or something like that, and you're going through, all of a sudden you come across a group of bad guys, and they see you, and all of a sudden, oh, now you're in battle mode, and so you get off your horse, and oh, now I got to defeat this random group, you know. And I love that about it. You're always going across random groups of bad guys that you like. All right, you don't have to fight them; it has nothing to do with the storyline. But you're like, oh, guess I got to kill these bad guys because they're just roaming around freely in my land. Yeah, so I love all that. Oh, the graphics are amazing. Oh my gosh, the different type of, you know, like you go through a field of like, you know, purple flowers or something like that. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. And you come across a lot of beautiful scenery throughout the whole video game. That's just absolutely amazing. Like some of the best scenery I've ever seen in a video game, which again makes you feel like you're in an actual environment that was designed like a movie, you know, is designed. And of course, the voice acting amazing. The storyline is great because you're trying to, like I said, your uncle gets like kidnapped at the beginning, so your first goal is just try to get him free, and then you get him free. That's not the end of the video game. You think that's like the end goal, but no. Then there's this whole other section, and the twist in there is amazing. Basically, you and your uncle kind of have falling out because and there's flashbacks in the video game. It flashes back when you're a kid and you're being trained as a samurai by your uncle, and you know of course you're taught these honor code, you know, as a samurai. This is honorable, this is honorable, this is not honorable. So you're taught to fight with honor, but to defeat the enemy, sometimes you do some things that aren't considered honorable, but you're doing it because for a good cause, because these guys are horrible, and you're trying to rescue everybody from your, you know, save your land. You're, you know, very important. And so that's why you start being called the ghost. Now it's really cool. There's a moment where you're referred to as the ghost of Tsushima, which Tsushima is the name of this area. And so you're the ghost because you're going through and you're, you know, kind of secretly, kind of, stealth, getting into, you know, killing. And it's very dishonorable, I guess, the way you use it. And your uncle's like getting after you, like, what? This is not the way samurais fight. And you're like, yeah, but we got to defeat them. Anyway, so I love that part of the story. And all of a sudden you're kind of rogue and you're on the run from your uncle and from others that you thought were your friends. Yeah, so it's a great storyline overall. And there's moments where like you have to fight one-on-one with somebody to like get there. You also learn like different fighting techniques or something like that. And you have to go fight somebody. You have to use the fighting technique to defeat them in a one-on-one battle. It's very cinematic. You know, the camera like goes back and forth between the two as they stand off, and then you have your one-on-one. It's so great. I was trying to think other story elements. Oh, you meet somebody, and then they give you a mission, and then you have to like throughout the video game you keep coming across the same people and get different missions to help them out with their own storyline. So there's all these, you know, side storylines that are going on along with your main storyline. So I love the different side storylines that have conclusions, and some of them, you know, are definitely like surprising, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was going to end this way or whatever. So I love all the side quests that you get throughout the game. It was very fun as well. Yeah, all that's great. And you eventually have to defeat, you know, the Kubla Khan, whatever, at the end, to finally win the day. But then even then you're still at odds with your uncle, so you have to, anyway, so that's so good. There's even one character who's kind of like your friend from childhood who helps you out, but then he turns against you and actually joins the enemy, and you have to fight him one-on-one. Oh my gosh, it's an incredible scene because you're just like, no, I don't want to kill you, you're my friend, but you also backstabbed me, so I'm like angry. Anyways, so it's like you deserve to die because of that. But yeah, great conflict. Again, it's great emotions. I don't know, it's all amazing. There's so many great things to say about this video game. I can go on, of course, for a long time, and I just did. But yeah, it's definitely one you have to play if you have a PS4 or whatever, Xbox One, PS5. I don't know, whatever you can get a hold of. It's like, this is a game definitely you have to get there. I think they made a second one. I don't think it did as well. And I think I heard that they're gonna make like maybe a movie or a TV series out of this video game. I hope they do, because it would be awesome. But yeah, number 5, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 4, I have Batman Arkham City. Yeah, I said Spider-Man's probably the best superhero video game, and then I remembered, I forgot, I also have Arkham City on this list. this Arkham City was the reason why I was like, I have to get an Xbox 360. Because at the time, I think I had like a PS. I mean, at the time I had a Wii, a Nintendo Wii, and I was playing Nintendo Wii and video games on that. And it didn't have like, I don't know, a great variety of great video games on there. It's some decent stuff, and you know, but I've never bought anything outside Nintendo. I've always enjoyed Nintendo, you know, with Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, GameCube, Wii. It's always been Nintendo based because they have some great video games and great characters, of course. But I remember I saw like a demo of Arkham City one time of someone playing, and I was like, totally blew my mind. Like total game changer. I've never seen any video game like this before. It's like you're Batman and you get in fights with people, but you get fighting crowds and you're just beating the crap out of all these people, and you're, you know, blocking people and counter punching and stuff like that. And I was like, I can't explain how mind blowing that was, seeing that for the first time and going, what? This is awesome. Like, this is everything I'd ever want in a video game. Playing Batman, beating up multiple people at the same time, and performing these cool moves and all this, and being able to, like, and the whole idea of, what's the word? I don't know who first kind of came up with this idea of, like, where you have, like, a whole world and you get to just freely, like, move around. There's a word for it. I'm forgetting the top of my mind, but that idea that you're just free to go around and counter different people, counter different bad guys, and you can just go, you can do what you want. Do I want to go over here and fight this person? Go over here and fight this person? It's called free something anyways, but that's the first time I really kind of, I mean, Zelda kind of did that before a little bit, but nothing to this extent where you just have free roam around the city, Arkham City, in this game. Now, of course, Arkham Asylum is also very good. I can almost combine the two because they're both really good, but Arkham City is, I think, one of the best video games I've ever played. Slightly better because just the amount of space you can roam is so amazing. Kind of similar to, like I said, Spider-Man, stuff like that, and Ghost of Tsushima. I love that free world kind of roaming around and, you know, picking what side quests you want to do and all that. Compared to a game where it's just linear, where you just have to do this, you have so many options. It's amazing. There's even quests you don't have to do. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. But if you're not, it won't hurt you at all. But yeah, Ark City, I mean, besides being Batman, and it's so awesome to be Batman and be able to beat the crap out of lots of bad guys and hand fighting and all that. And then if you fight so much, you get quicker and you get like shoot, and you're like jumping between guys and all that. Oh, it's so fun. Yeah, so this is the game that I was like, I have to get an Xbox 360. I never thought about getting anything outside Nintendo. I was like, for some reason, so loyal to Nintendo. And I remember seeing this, like I said, this demo of this game, and I was like, I have to buy an Xbox 360 just to play this game. This game looks so fun to play. And boy, was I right. Yeah, just even the storyline of like you're Bruce Wayne and there's this, they make Arkham City, they put all the villains of Batman in this city, and they kind of bury it off so they can't get into the civilian part of the city. But all the bad guys are in this one part, so it's really bad. It's almost like they put the Arkham Asylum in a city, though. And Bruce Wayne basically gets kidnapped and is put into the city. Of course, some people don't know he's Batman, but he gets his bat suit, and then now he's going around Arkham City trying to figure out what's going on, who's behind all of this. And so the storyline as it goes is so good, as it's a mystery, figuring out, you know, all this, and you come across and again, I said Batman, I think, has the greatest villains of all time. What do you want to say? Greatest cast of villains, I guess. And so you come across the Penguin a lot, and I love the way they design the villains and everything. It's very cool designs, I think. Of course, Penguin. There's this great quest where you go up against Mr. Freeze. Oh my gosh, I think their Mr. Freeze was absolutely fantastic. Of course, Harley Quinn is great. And Joker. Joker is absolute greatest villain I've ever seen. And this might be the greatest rendition of the Joker. Just his designs just reminds me a little bit more of like the cartoon I used to grow up on. And Mark Hamill doing the voice of Joker is the greatest Joker. I mean, I love Heath Ledger's Joker. Amazing performance. But I think the Joker that sounds to me the most like Joker is Mark Hamill when he does the voice. And of course, I forget the name of the actor. The actor who does Batman is also amazing. He did the Batman original series, along with Mark Hamill did the Batman animated series, whatever. Love their voice act. The voice acting is so good. It's some of the best voice acting I've ever heard. And definitely that's what makes it like a video game, because I grew up where you didn't have any voice acting. And now today they get actors doing voice acting that's it's quality good, like a movie. I mean, it's amazing. And so, you know, you got Catwoman, you got Two-Face in here. The Riddler doesn't really show up. He kind of, he doesn't show up so much. You don't see him, but you hear his voice here and there. Clayface, I think, even shows up in here. Croc, whatever, shows up. And Poison Ivy. I mean, just all the great villains are in here. I love seeing all of them, and even some even smaller villains I think show up here as well. And yeah, love that. And just love the whole story. Like there's this some substance that is that's killing people, and so you're trying to find a cure for it. And Joker, he says he has it, and so you're trying to find this cure that Mr. Freeze has, and then you have to fight Mr. Freeze to get this one thing to try to help Joker, because you have it too. So you have to get the cure, because Joker, like, he, I think, shoots it into you at one point. He kind of surprises you. And it's a great scene. It's just so many good scenes. And so then, now you think you have it, so then you have to get the cure or whatever, and then Joker gets it too or something. I don't know. So I love the whole storyline between Joker kind of comes in, and it's like, okay, he seems like a side villain, and then as you go on, he becomes more of the main villain. Oh, Ra's al Ghul shows up as well. You have to find him. Scarecrow shows up at times. And you have these very, you know, hallucination type things, because the Scarecrow's, you know, hallucinogen, you know, thing that he does. Oh gosh, it's so well done. And there's these moments, so cool, that I've never seen before, where you're doing a regular task and all of a sudden something jumps out at you that you're not expecting. Oh my gosh, like, I've so many jump scares actually in this video game. There's one where, like, there's this, you're in this, you're trying to find the penguin, and there's like this pool or something like that that's iced over, and so you start walking over, and all of a sudden a shark jumps out. Oh my gosh, you're like, oh, like, I didn't expect the shark to be there. And then you have to be careful not to get eaten by the shark. There's one moment where you're trying to blow up some glass, but before you blow it up, a big guy, like, punches through the glass and grabs you by the neck. Oh my gosh, those moments are so cool, because you're like, oh, okay. Evidently, whatever you did triggered this thing to happen, and I don't know, love those moments. And yeah, all the characters are great, and the ending is so good as well. I remember playing it, and at the end, after I beat it, I was just sitting there just watching the credits roll. It's like a movie, because you almost have like this intro with intro credits, and at the end you have like kind of the end credits. Yeah, it just feels like you just watched a movie, but you were playing Batman, and it's like the best Batman movie of all time. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't mention, you also have these stealth moments where you in a room with a bunch of guys with guns, and you have to stealthily take them out so you can get shot and killed. I don't like those stages as much, but it's definitely a cool element as well. But anyways, I talked enough about it. Ark City, amazing superhero video game, amazing Batman game. At number 4, Arkham City. Number 3, we got Red Dead Redemption. I already talked about Red Dead Redemption 2, but I actually have Red Dead Redemption at number 3 here, only because the first time I played this game, it just blew me away. Again, I keep using that word, but this is another one. I kept hearing people say, oh, this is a real cool video game. And I had the Xbox 360 already, because I had Arkham City. And so I was like, oh, I need to try this Red Dead Redemption thing out. I wasn't sure about it, what's going to happen. Anyways, and then, man, when I put it in, and you're a cowboy, you're on a horse, you're just riding. Like, I would just ride on the horse. Like I said in Red Dead Redemption 2, I would spend so many hours not doing anything, just riding my horse through the different sceneries and different towns, and, you know, talk to people and stuff like that, and not do anything. And it's just so fun, just exploring the Old West on a horse with the music. I didn't even mention the music in Red Dead Redemption 2 is some of the best music I've ever heard. The songs that appear out of nowhere are great. We don't get that as much in Red Dead Redemption, but Red Dead Redemption 2, oh my gosh, the music is so good. But Red Dead Redemption music is pretty good too. And Again, the voice acting's so good. Here you're playing a different character. In Red Dead Redemption 2, you're Arthur. And this one, I'm forgetting the name of the main character, but you're playing this main character. And the whole story is just that you're trying to find your old gang that you used to be in. Basically, now you're married with a son, and you're like have a farm that you've given up the life of being like an outlaw. But the FBI comes and they say, we need you to go find your compatriots in your gang, and we need to capture them or kill them or whatever. And you don't want to do it, but they basically have your family hostage, so you're forced to go do this thing for the FBI, who are kind of the bad guys of the movie. I say movie, the video game. Anyway, so you go and you actually almost die at the very first beginning of the movie. You like almost die, and this random girl takes you into her farm and heals you and like helps you heal back, from almost dying, and you become friends with her anyways, and then you go on with your mission. So very cool beginning to the game. In fact, I love the very beginning. You're on a train and it just shows you like I said, the opening credits, and you're hearing people talking anyways. Oh, very cool. Again, it feels like a movie beginning. I love it. Of course, the again, I love the first person shooter type thing. You go on different missions. Again, you meet people and they're like, oh, we need you to do this, and you go, okay, and then you're in some shootout with some random bad guys, and then you're trying to help. And the characters you got like this drunk Irish guy you have to help because he knows this information that you need, and then you got this what do you call it? You got this snake oil salesman who's a fraudster that always getting in trouble because he's always conning people, but he has something that you need. Anyway, so you go through all these people, and you have shootouts. You come across people, and you have a gunslinger. You get to pull out your gun, and those are very cool scenes when those happen. Again, you just feel like you're a cowboy in the Old West, and it's such a cool feeling. I love it. But what makes this video game so great is the ending. It's maybe the best ending to a video game I've ever played. That's why it's at number 3, I think, is because I was not expecting it. And I hate to spoil it, but it's so good I kind of have to spoil what happens. Basically, you do find all your gang members, and you either kill them or basically I think you kill them. And you think you've done everything. The FBI lets you go, and you go back to your family, and you're thinking, oh, this should be the end of the video game. I accomplished my mission. You go back to your family, and all of a sudden you're doing chores on the farm. It's kind of funny. You're like, whoa, now I'm just doing farm chores? Like, what's going on here? And then the FBI show up. And you're like, oh, now we're having a shootout with the FBI. So now you have this big shootout with the FBI. And there's a moment where you send your wife and your kid away to save them, and you're in a barn. You come out of the barn, and you're surrounded by the FBI. And you have one last shootout, but you can't win because you're just outnumbered. And so you get, I hate to spoil this, but you get killed. And it's like, what? You're the main character, and you get killed. And you're like, this is a weird way to end the video game. But it's not the end. Then it goes like 10 years later. It's like, 10 years later. All of a sudden, you're playing your son that you barely kind of see throughout the video game. Now you're your son as a grown-up going out to get revenge for the FBI killing your dad. So now it's only like a couple missions. There's not very much at this point. But both your parents are dead. You're like at the gravesite. Oh, it's amazing. It's like 10 years later or something like that. You're at the gravesite of your parents, and you realize, oh, I'm the son now. And now you go into town, and you're trying to figure out where these FBI guys that, were responsible. And the video game ends with you finding like one of the retired FBI guys fishing. He's out fishing. You're like, are you so-and-so? And he's like, yeah, what do you want? He's like, well, you killed my dad or something like that. And he's like, oh, well, I'm going to kill you. All of a sudden you're at a shootout with this old FBI guy. And of course you kill him, and he falls in the water. And your character, I never forget it. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, your character, after you shoot him, you turn around and you're slowly walking away, and you see like close up of your face as you're slowly walking away, and all of a sudden Red Dead Redemption like gets put on the screen. Red Dead Redemption, as you're walking away from finally revenging your father's death. It's like, man, if this was a movie, it'd be the greatest Western of all time. And that's why Red Dead Redemption 2 is so good, but that first experience of playing Red Dead Redemption, I'll never forget. And that's why it's at number 3 on my list. Number 2, we have the Uncharted series. I guess I can put all the Uncharted in here. There's 4 Uncharted games, and this is another one where I kind of bought the PS4 because I really want to play Uncharted. I kept seeing, lists of games of like some of the best video games, and Uncharted always came up, and I would see videos of people playing Uncharted. I was like, wow, this looks like such a fun adventure game that has first-person shooter, has what do you call it, parkour type. And Batman has parkour as well. I forgot to mention that's pretty cool in Batman, but this has a lot of parkour moments where you're climbing up buildings and you're going, and stuff like that, and you're shooting bad guys, and you're also like Indiana Jones. You got these puzzles you have to, So I love the whole idea behind it. Plus, it looked funny, like the voice acting of Drake, whatever, is very funny, and all this. And so I was like, I had to buy a PS4 just so I could play Uncharted. That was one of those things. And so I bought a PS4, and the first thing I did was I bought all 4 Uncharted games and played through all 4 of them. And oh my gosh, it's here at number 2 for a reason. It definitely feels like Indiana Jones style movie that you're playing, and you're playing this main character Drake, who's very funny, very charming, handsome, heroic. It's one of the greatest characters I've ever played in a video game. And yeah, throughout and each video game, your relationships with different characters grow. There's this girl that you meet in the first one who's just this reporter, and you go through this adventure, and anyways, and then the second one, you meet her up with her again, and it seems like there's maybe a romance between the two, and then by the time you get the third one, like, it's definitely like a big romance thing, and maybe even married. By the time you get to the fourth one, you're like, now you're married to this girl that you met in the very first video game. So I love that. And even at the very end, actually ends with you having a child and you playing as the daughter, going through all your parents' like adventures, like looking at pictures and stuff, and then meeting your parents, and your parents like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, you're looking at our old photographs. And that's how like the fourth video game ends. And it's like, wow, that's such a cool conclusion to this 4-game series. Like, it's so satisfying. It's one of the most satisfying things I've ever done, playing through all 4 video games, and especially the fourth one, because you find out you have a brother, which I was never mentioned in the first 3, that he thinks is dead, and he comes back, and so you have to help your brother because he's in a bind, and you have flashbacks when you're a kid, your 2 brothers are kids. It's so great. I love the flashbacks in that one. It's really fun, and the relationship you have with your brother is really great, and all that. The second one is my favorite, though. You have a couple different characters that come in. This other girl that you used to have a relationship with, it's like you don't know if she's good or bad. And there's this English bad guy that comes in and backstabs you, and you want to get back at him. But it has the greatest beginning to a video game I've ever seen, where you're hanging off a cliff in a train. That's how it begins. And you wake up, because you passed out, and you wake up and you look and you're like, oh, I'm hanging off like this cliff in a train, and you have to parkour your way up this train before, as it's going to fall off this cliff, and you get to the end and you barely make it before the train falls off. And so as you're playing, you're like, why am I in a train that's falling off a cliff? Like, I'm like right in the middle of an adventure. Like, I don't know what happened. And the rest of the video game is almost like a flashback. Like, how did I get to this point where I'm on a train? And you get the whole story of it. And man, it's so amazing. The train scene there's a scene where you get on the train because the one girl's kidnapped, I think, or something like that. So you're trying to save her. So you have to go from car to car. It is the greatest level I've ever played in a video game, where you're jumping from train to train and you're fighting bad guys in each train car. And as you're fighting, the scenery changes. Like, 1 second you're like in the jungle or something. Next second you're like in a desert area or something. Then the very end, you're going up a mountain and it's cold and it's snowing. It's like, that was so amazing. Like, I've never played a video game like that, where usually when you're on a train in a video game, the scenery never changes. It's just the same scenery usually, or something like that. That's all the memory they have. But in this, it's like, I was paying attention to the scenery as much as I was like playing the video game, going, wow, look at all this scenery. Like, your train is going through, like, it's like you're on a real train going through, all the scenes. It's so good. And there's moments like, I remember you get on one part of this train, and there's this guy with this like almost this machine or something like that, shooting machine guns at you. And it's like, there's no way I can defeat this guy. But I thought to myself, I was like, oh, but he's on this thing where there's ropes, and if I shoot the ropes, like, whatever he's on will fall off. And it worked. And I was just making a guess. I was like, because I don't think I can fight this guy. And it's like, I wonder if I can shoot these ropes. And I did. And I was like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do, shoot the ropes. And so there's so many amazing moments. There's a moment where like I think helicopters are shooting at you, and you have to get into a tank and blow them up. I mean, it was one of the funnest. It's I think the best probably seen level, the train level. And then what makes it so satisfying is at the end, you start going off the cliff and you go, oh yeah, this is the very beginning of the video game. This is how I get to that part at the beginning where I have to go parkour my way up the train. So that's such a cool reveal when you're like, okay, now I get why I'm on this train. And so it feels like a movie. Like you have that in a movie where you show a scene and then you have flashbacks to kind of come up to what's going on in the beginning scene. So I love that. Such a cool cinematic, storytelling element. So good. And there's so many great scenes, like where you're being chased by a helicopter on top of rooftops, or you're being chased by a tank through a town, and I want to say some Asian country. And yeah, it's so many cool levels and stuff. And again, voice acting is amazing, and the character, like I said, is so fun. He's such a great character, and him and his relationship with now I'm forgetting his mentor, who's the pilot. Who they have great banter. The banter between them is absolutely hilarious. And yeah, it's so satisfying in the end when you defeat the bad guy and get revenge anyways. And even the third video game, I don't know why I don't like it as much. It still has great moments, and it shows more flashbacks of you and your friend, your best friend, who's like your mentor, who's much older than you, and how you met each other. So it does a whole origin story of that, which is great. Anyways, it's so much to talk about, but yeah, it's like if you made Uncharted, they did make an Uncharted movie, but it was terrible because it didn't really represent the video games that well. But it's like, man, if you took the stories of these video games, made movies, it's like it'd be the greatest adventure movie of all time. And I really wish they would do a better adaptation of this Uncharted series. But yeah, definitely one of the greatest. And I love that there's 4 video games and how it's like you played a whole trilogy, quadrilogy of movies that has the best ending ever. Anyways, absolutely love Uncharted. At number 2 on my list. All right, so my number 1 favorite cinematic video game goes to Final Fantasy III. For the Super Nintendo. I don't know, might be surprised in the sense that all the other video games I've talked about are all on, more recent consoles like the Xbox 360, PS4. And a lot of that's because cinematically you can do so many things with the video game like that, where you can have voice acting, you can have all kinds of scenery, you can have a lot of different characters, a lot of storylines that you can do. But funny enough, I still go back to Final Fantasy III, which it's also known as Final Fantasy VI, I think. But on Super Nintendo growing up, it was always Final Fantasy III is the name of the game. And I remember discovering this game when I was a kid with one of my best friends who had a Super Nintendo, and he would play it, and I would watch him play and be like, wow, this game is so fun. I would just watch him play. And I would play along with him too, because he can play with 2 people, which is kind of fun. But yeah, and I remember just going through the story going, wow, this is so fun. Like the different characters that you meet and the storylines that happen. And even the beginning, even without voice acting, even with the Super Nintendo graphics, it was still very cinematic and still very cool. And like the things at that time, it was very cool graphics for, 90s, nothing like today, but at the time it was amazing. But the beginning, it begins with you going on a cliff looking over this town, and it's like these 2 military guys, and then there's this girl that's like your main character at the beginning, but you don't know who you are. You don't even have a name. You kind of have amnesia. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you're doing, but you're like being controlled to fight for this army. And so you're on these mechanical things that walk. I forget what they call them, but anyways, so you overlook this, and you can hear wind, this wind as you're standing on the cliff. It was very cool, and you're looking over this town, and the army people, these 2 army guys or whatever, are having this conversation about this town and about you and all this. All of a sudden, you have this little scene, and all of a sudden it goes into like the opening credits basically, and the music starts. The music's amazing. Some of the best music I've ever seen in a video game. But the music starts, and it shows the 3 of you walking through the snowy. It looks like it's kind of snowing. I mean, again, it's Super Nintendo graphics, but still, it was really cool. It's like this music, and it's this whole scene where you're just walking with this music and these credits, and you're like, wow, this is like the opening credits of a movie. It's so cool. And it's amazing. Still to this day, I love it. And then you play your first, you get this first town and all this anyways. And then you get separated from these army guys. And then you find out that you're this girl that is half Esper, which is a magic user, and half human. Your dad was like an Esper and your mom was a human. And so you can use magic, which no one's seen magic for like a long time. So that's like a shocker to everybody. But anyways, you meet like this, definitely there's this emperor and there's this empire, the evil empire. And you have this kind of, the returners, who are kind of this rebellious group trying to overtake the empire. And you meet all these different characters. And that's what I love about this video game. All the different personality and characters are so great. One guy is kind of a thief. He calls himself a treasure hunter. You have a king and his twin brother come into play as well. Some of the main characters. And you come across all these different, characters. There's this kind of ninja guy that joins you sometimes named Shadow as well. You meet this knight whose family gets killed by Kefka, who's the main villain, and so he's out for revenge, and he's a knight, and he joins your group anyways. And so all these different characters, again, even in the Super Nintendo, you get all the great personalities, you get great storylines between characters. It's a really well written video game. Anyways, and so you're trying to, fight against this emperor and everything, and also you discover all these espers and stuff like that. And you're trying to get to this one place and, talk to the espers or something. Anyways, there's this whole storyline about it, but then there's all these different kind of side things that happen. In fact, there's this one amazing moment where you decide to join the returners. The girl does, the main girl, and you join them, and then you get on a raft, and then you come across this octopus named like Voltros or something like that, Ultros, I think, and he's just this random giant octopus that you come across on the river, and he fights you for some reason. You have to fight him, and you defeat him, but then some of your party falls off the raft anyways, and so then you split into 3 different storylines, and you have to go through between the 3 storylines, which is so cool. I've never seen a video game before, and still pretty cool to this day. I love it. And so you play the different storylines, and you all meet up again, kind of almost in the middle of the game, almost not exactly, but it's like you're into the game for a little bit here, and all of a sudden you have to go to war with Kefka and his army, and you have a little battle sequence thing where you're fighting different people, and then you even fight Kefka, but he runs off anyways to fight another day, I guess. And so it's like a little bit of a mini victory for the returners. But I say all that to say Ultros is such a fun villain, one of the best villain video game characters, because he's just random, and you're like, okay, this giant octopus, and he's kind of funny. He's like, trolling you as you fight him. And then you meet him up again like 3 more times in the video game at random times. He has nothing to do with the storyline. It's just all of a sudden you're doing the story, and all of a sudden he'll show up and you have to fight Ultros again, this giant octopus. And every time you fight him, it's hilarious because you fight him and then he runs off, and you're like, again, it's almost like a movie where you have a recurring character just keep coming, and it's like you can never get rid of this guy, and I absolutely love it. Every time you fight him, it's just hilarious to me. And then towards the end of the video game, you come across him, and he's like working at this gladiator thing where people are fighting, and he's just working behind the counter. And you come across him, and here's this villain that you've been fighting throughout the whole video game, and he's now working at this place, and he's like mad. Anyways, it's just a great character arc for this random character that you come across. Anyways, I just had to say that. Love that about the video game. You fight all kinds of, dragons and all kinds of, monsters. And it's a turn-based video game where you come across, you're walking across this, world, and all of a sudden you get into a fight, and there's 4 characters, and you're doing, different, attacks and everything. And I love about this is, one of the things I love is there's like 12 different playable characters. Like, I've never seen that many playable characters in a video game, and they all, again, have their different personalities and storylines that you come across. And you just come across them as you're playing the game. Like, you pick up a new character, like, okay, now he's joined the party. And each character has different ways they attack, which I absolutely love. The thief, he can steal from people. He has a thing that you push that you can try to steal from them. The king, he's good. He's like an expert engineer, And so he has tools like a chainsaw and like a drill and like a crossbow. And so you can pick those weapons and they put up a lot of damage. His twin brother is a martial artist. So you have to push in the sequence of buttons for him to do a certain martial arts move, which is really fun. Sin, I think his name is the knight. You have these different, knight moves where you have to wait for like the line to get to a certain point, and then you have to push the button, and then he does a certain knight move. It's really cool. You have a gambler who you have like the slot machine where you have to try to hit 3 things in a row, and then he performs a move. Anyways, I'm just saying it's confusing maybe to talk about, but just every single character has a specific special move that only they can do. And I love that about the video game, that you can kind of figure out what 4 characters you want to put together, which ones are stronger, attack-wise, which ones are maybe better for healing. And so you kind of strategize who you want to use and who you want to strengthen up. In the later video game, you pick up Esper, these Esper stones. Espers turn into these stones, and then you can take these stones and you can learn magic. And that is such a fun part of the game, where as you play, you learn certain magic moves as well that you can use anyways. So you try to level everybody up on all the different magic stuff, ice 1, ice 2, ice 3, all these different kind of stuff anyways. And it's so cool learning the different big magic moves as you get more espers and you try to learn all the magic. Anyways, that's such a fun part of the game as well. What really makes this game so great, I love it, is almost like midway through the game you get to Kefka and the Emperor, who actually there's a whole point where you think the Emperor is actually a good guy or something like that, like he's going to help you, and then he backstabs you, and you're like, oh no, he actually wants to kill us. He was just lying the whole time anyways, and so just to get to the Espers. And so you get to this point where you're on this floating island, and you get to like Kefka and the Emperor. Kefka's like, there's the Emperor Gestalt, and then there's Kefka, who's like his right-hand man, and he's like the real evil one. Though they're both evil, but Kefka's like even more evil. And he's a great character, one of the greatest villains in the video game. And the only sound he makes is the laugh. Ha 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 ha. It's such a great laugh. And that's like the only noise you get out of it. But anyways, Kefka turns on the Emperor, kills the Emperor, and then you basically have to escape this island. But Kefka basically wins. The bad guy wins. He kind of takes over the world, and then you're like this one character, and you're stuck on an island, and you have to find a boat to get back to the mainland, and then you have to find all your characters all over again. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a video game, where it's like the bad guy wins, and now you have to regroup, and you have to find all your members who are doing different things throughout the world, and the world's different because the bad guys won. The world is like, not the same, and so you can't see how the world's changed. Because you're like in a coma for a couple of years, I think, and you wake up after this whole big sequence in this floating island. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a video game. It's almost like you're in a movie, and it's like Infinity War. It's like Avengers Infinity War. Like the bad guy wins, everybody dies, or everybody's defeated, and then the next movie, everybody has to regroup and fight the bad guy again. One of the coolest things I've ever seen in a video game to this day. And probably the reason why I put this at number 1 is because I've played this game so many times. Again, since the 90s, for the last like 30 years. And I still to this day, I will play this video game. I'll pick it up, play it. Still absolutely love playing it. Get so much satisfaction in playing this video game. Even though I know everything that's going to happen, I've played it so many times, I don't ever get tired of playing this video game. That's why it's number 1. I still think the story is so good. Characters are so good. And it's even funny at times. There's some funny moments. There's some dramatic moments. Again, it's Super Nintendo graphics, yet they still were able to pull out these emotions by their storylines, because it's a very well-written storyline overall, like the best storyline I've ever seen, fantasy storyline. That's why it's number 1 here. And there's so many cool scenes. Like I didn't mention, there's a scene where you're in the opera and you have to sing opera and you have to pick the lines. It's like comes out of nowhere. And you're like, well, now I'm in the opera. But such a cool sequence, such a cool level, that you're like, man, this video game just throws so many cool things at you that I've never seen before. And to this day, it's just the most fun I've ever played a video game. And it's a great ending too. It's like a 20-minute ending where you get endings for all your characters after you defeat Kefka at the end. You have to go up his tower. You have to go to Kefka's tower and like fight up the tower to finally fight him as the main villain, the main big boss. And and you have to break up into 3 different parties because you have 12 characters and you have 4 in each party. So you have to go through the tower different play and hit different, switches so another group can get through this play. Anyways, it's so great. It's so fun. So enjoyable to play, and just the best story I think I've ever seen in a video game. And that's why I put it number one on my most cinematic video games. Even though it's a Super Nintendo game, it's still, I think, the best written video game I've ever played. And again, the music's amazing. Everything about it is just so fun. Anyway, so yeah, that's my number one, Final Fantasy 3, and that's my top 5. I know it went a long time, but I love talking about these video games. They bring so much satisfaction. And the reason why I play video games, I love playing these storylines and feeling like you're in a story, like a movie or something, and defeating the villain is so satisfying at the end. Like, you really feel like you accomplished anything, even though it's just a video game. I don't know, so much joy I've had playing these games. And I hope you have seen some of these games or played some of these games too. I'd love to hear anybody's comments about these 5 video games. If you played them, what do you think as well? Are they in your top as well, top 10 or whatever it is? And what's your favorite video game you think that's very cinematic? I'd love to hear any of your thoughts. Besides that, I know it's a long video, but I really love talking about this stuff, and hope some people enjoy some of that play video games out there that are watching me. But thank you to anybody watching these videos, especially this one. And thank you for anybody who's commenting. Really appreciate it. And just thank you to anybody who's liked the video. It really helps me out. And to all the subscribers, man, I thank you so much for supporting me all this time. And besides that, have a good rest of the weekend. I will talk to you later.